We get a little bit of water in and we're good to go. Kind of nervous. I don't like doing recordings.
Then you can't do a podcast. I don't like to record myself.
I don't like to record myself. Hey, you know it'd be a good idea? Starting a podcast.
Man, it's cool.
All right. Ready?
I'm ready, Papa.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our brand new podcast, The Sideline Podcast. My name is Adam Flores, and I am joined by...
This is Christopher Marquez in the building, guys. What is up? Adam, first off, thank you for inviting me to be part of this brand new podcast. I am super excited, and I am looking forward to seeing what we can do with this. So shout out to you, man. I'll give you a round of applause for that.
Hey, thank you, man. I appreciate that. A little bit of background about us. This is kind of just a for fun thing. We're trying to see where this is gonna go. Trying to see if we can make something out of this. You know, hopefully Chris can be my long-term co-host, or maybe he can just be a guest that is reoccurring. I'm not really sure if I'm gonna do this quite on my own just yet. But it's something new, something a little more, I guess you would say, hip. I'd like to think of myself as the younger crowd, maybe something a little more new to the area. And hopefully we can just get things going about sports. This is mainly going to be an NFL podcast. A little bit of college, obviously, when the season's going on. And then during the off season, we would be going through NBA material. So like today, for example, we are going to be looking at the All-Star roster. Chris, what do you think about the All-Star roster this year?
Well, let's see. So All-Star Weekend starts today, actually. And the game is actually on Sunday. And I believe they're in the Bay Area this year, so that should be cool. I've always liked that arena and the way that the Warriors pack it out. It seems like it would be a good place for them to host an All-Star game, because I feel like it's in New Orleans every single year for some reason. But I know it's not, but it just feels that way. So I don't know. I'm excited. We were looking at the format right now. We were both kind of like, we didn't know what to think about the new format. I didn't even know there was a completely new format. And so that was crazy. But what do you think about them doing this like mini tournament? Essentially, it's 3 teams with the 4th team coming from the Rising Stars Challenge, which if you don't know what that is, you need to look into that specifically. But Adam, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, going back to, what is it, like 2-3 years ago now, where they started the in-season tournament, it's kind of like a soccer thing where they're trying to keep things interesting, you know, trying to keep a crowd going on television. Maybe their ratings are down. And I think it's something new, something maybe that we can look forward to year by year. Getting those rising stars in, I think it's something fresh for the league. And like you mentioned that it was coming to the Bay Area. For example, a lot of people kind of disagree that maybe Steph Curry might not be able to perform in a game like this, or maybe he doesn't belong on this All-Star roster here in 2024. You know, he's in I want to say his 14th year in the league already. He's aging. People think he might not have what it takes to win a championship with Jimmy Buttler. I don't know. What are your thoughts on Steph Curry making the roster this year?
Well, I think people need to understand that the All-Star roster is also kind of like a way to pay tribute to your stars in the league, right? Like, everybody wants to be an All-Star, but you also do like have the tendency of selecting the same All-Stars over and over again, like the people that are the faces of the league. You can't have an All-Star game with no Steph, with no LeBron, with no Durant, with no Kyrie Irving. You know, that's the old guard in the league, right?
Those are your
those
staple
guys have to be there. Right. They have to be there. And so, yeah, they might not have the season that a typical All-Star would, but like I said, you imagine turning on the NBA All-Star weekend and those players are not there. If you're looking for views and you're trying to get ratings, those guys are only going to help you. So I think that's why those guys are there, right? But there's also some guys that I'm looking at the roster where I'm like, Jalen Williams from the Thunder, wow, that is a crazy one, right? And then you also have somebody like Alperen Sengun from the Rockets. It's like, damn, I didn't even know the Rockets had a whole team this year, but they have an All-Star, you know? So players like that are what's standing out to me more than anything.
Yeah, you had mentioned the Rockets, correct?
Yeah, Sengun He's their center. I'm not sure where he's from. I think he's Spanish.
Yeah,
But
that sounds about right.
he is the lone all-star from the Rockets. And like I said, I didn't even know that, obviously I'm kidding. I know the Rockets have a team, right? But you just it's a name you don't expect right off the bat when you're talking all-stars in the NBA this season. But the way he's played, the way the Rockets are going, everybody thought they'd have a really bad year. I'm not a big Dylan Brooks fan. I'll be the first to tell you that right now. But they are doing well, and they have an all-star to show for it.
Um, I actually just brought up the standings, and could you believe that the Rockets are the number 4 seed in the Western Conference right now? That is crazy.
Yeah, that's wild. I mean, the West is wide open, and I think you saw it with the trade deadline that teams like the Mavericks are being very active. They're down at number 8. The Warriors with Jimmy Butler, the Kings also moving De'Aaron Fox, the Spurs going for that move as well. I mean, the Suns are the 11th seed. The West is really wide open. Besides the Thunder at the very top, all those other teams are in a cluster of about 3 to 4 games within each other. But it is very, very, very funny that the Rockets are your 4 seed at the moment.
Yeah, you would think somebody like maybe the Lakers or maybe even the Timberwolves or maybe even the Mavs. They granted they don't have Luka Doncic anymore, but they still got stars like Max Christie is coming off some hot games recently. I know that he had a 5 game stretch of 15 plus points just recently. After the trade, and people are starting to wonder, hey, maybe this was the right move. Maybe this was something that the Mavs needed, a fresh young face in the roster. But how do you go about replacing somebody like Luka Doncic with a aging, very fragile Anthony Davis and a fresh Max Christie?
Okay, so the Anthony Davis thing, obviously he plays one game, goes down on a no contact injury. But another thing that happened with Dallas is their backup to Anthony Davis, Daniel Gafford, also went down with an injury too. So now they're down 2 big men. But I think the spacing and the way that the ball will move with the Mavericks now, with just one ball handler in Kyrie Irving, as opposed to 2 ball handlers with him and Doncic, I think it opens the space on the floor for those teams. Now, Christie, he came over from the Lakers. He's a knockdown shooter, so he's going to benefit from that. And then you also have Klay Thompson as well. So you're putting guys on the perimeter while also trying to get scoring from the inside with Gafford and Davis. But unfortunately, one thing you can't control in the NBA is injuries.
Right, right. Speaking of injuries, I was actually
Speaking
looking.
of beers, let
Speaking
me
of
pop open a
beers,
beer.
oh my God! I don't know anybody else in this world that has more enthusiasm when it comes to Bud Light than this man right here. He drinks beer
I know.
religiously when it comes to Bud Light.
I know a lot of people that do that. Post Malone, good friend of mine.
Hey, oh yeah, yeah, good friend of yours. Yeah, down in Dallas, you got the Raisin Canes with him.
Yeah, yeah. I've been to a few parties with them, played some beer pong with them. No big deal.
Been to a few parties. In case you
Play
guys
some
didn't
shit
know,
song.
we're based out of Texas, El Paso, Texas, down here on the west side. Me and Chris actually grew up Dallas Cowboys fans, believe it or not. It's quite unfortunate this year, looking at the Dallas Cowboys, as well as looking at the Dallas Mavericks. Obviously the trade that went down with the Lakers. Maybe switching up to the NFL for a second. What do you think about the Dallas Cowboys headed into the 2025 season?
Let's not do that. How about that? I just think it's the franchise is just it's getting worse. It seems like the way they're running the franchise, it seems to just be getting worse. I don't know why they make some of the head coaching decisions that they make, but that's Jerry Jones, and he only wants a certain type of coach in Dallas. That's the thing. And until Jerry Jones is no longer making the decisions, I don't foresee them having any Super Bowl winning seasons. I mean, the Cowboys have had good seasons where they'll win 12 games or so, or they'll finish first in the NFC East, but the ultimate goal in Dallas is a championship, and I don't think they're set up at this moment to accomplish that. And the big elephant in the room is what happens with Michael Parsons coming up. Does he get extended? Do they trade him? I mean, what's going to happen there is going to be a big, big, big indication of what the future holds for that franchise.
Yeah, you have players like Joe Burrow over there in Cincinnati, and he's saying, well, if Philly can pay five, six, seven people worth $50+ million contracts, why can't Cincinnati do it with Joe Mixon, who they just let walk? Why can't they do it with T. Higgins, who they're reluctant on paying, as well as Jamar Chase? They didn't pay him last year, and he just drove the price up for himself this year, coming off a Triple Crown season. And then you have the Cowboys over there, where they're one of the richest franchises. Obviously, there is a cap, but being one of the richest franchises, you give your quarterback the money that maybe he deserves, maybe he doesn't, and then you give CeeDee Lamb the money that he well deserves, being a top 3, top 5, top 10 wide receiver. And then Micah Parsons, arguably the best defensive end coming into the league the past couple of years.
Yeah, and the whole argument about wealthy owners or this team is worth so much, it really you really can't base it on that because, like you said, there is a salary cap in place. Now, the thing that other teams are better at than some are manipulating the salary cap or winning with like a quarterback that's not making a lot of money, kind of like you've seen with Brock Purdy in San Francisco. That is how you manage the cap, right? Once you have an all-star like Dak Prescott, Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, if you don't pay them, somebody's going to pay them. So that's where, trying to retain those players is very tough. And then you look at somebody like Joe Mixon that you mentioned, right? A workhorse for Cincinnati, right? Through and throughout the seasons. And at some point, his value to the team is going to go down because of his age and because all his mileage. But then you see him still go to Houston and be productive. So the way that teams do it, that's what you need, a good GM, somebody that knows how to manipulate the cap. But, it's tough, man. And some teams can do it better than others. And that's why you see a team like Philly this year that just dominated, even though they're in some cap hell as well. But, that's what they do in order to get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, a dominant team like the Eagles who have young stars on defense and enormous talent on their offensive line. You can't get enough of it. You can't get enough of Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown. And then you go and sign someone like Saquon Barkley, who was already decorated. He had a good stretch with the Giants, and they would rather pay someone like Daniel Jones over Saquon Barkley. Some questionable decisions by that general management. And then
really fast, let me just read you some of this when we're talking about the cap here. And this is what I mean by teams not knowing how to use their money right. What? Right? So do you know what dead money is?
Yeah. Kind of like when they release a player and they still got to pay him.
Right, exactly. Right. Guess who's got the most dead money in the NFL as of 2024 of all franchises?
Man, I'm torn between maybe like 3. I'm going to go either the Giants or the Browns.
Okay, so the team with the most dead money at 48 million is the Saints.
Wow.
And then the second behind them at 39 million is the Browns. So you're right there. The Giants actually are not too bad. 27 million seems to be okay. But then there's a team like the Steelers. $45,000 in dead money, bro.
Wow.
That is absolutely crazy. And that is how you know that a team knows how to run a franchise. The Colts, $816,000. You know what I mean? The Ravens, $8,000 or $8 million only. You know what I mean? And the Dolphins, $27 million in dead money, bro. It's crazy. The Buccaneers, 29. So it really comes down to having the talent, but also having the people in the front office that know how to acquire talent on the low, retain talent on the low, and when they have to, yeah, they'll sign a big player when they need to. So that is crazy to me just looking at the cap numbers.
Yeah, another big role that goes into that is drafting. Obviously drafting is a huge role. You get a franchise like the Bengals, for example, and they drafted Joe Burrow, obviously the one of one, back in, I believe it was 2020. And you put him on any other team, such as maybe even the Ravens. You put him on a team like the Ravens, and maybe they're Super Bowl winners. You put him on a team like the Eagles. Obviously, they won the Super Bowl this year. Or you put him on maybe even the Cowboys. They go and win a Super Bowl because he's just that good. And then you also have other busts. Busts are very well known in the NFL. You have people like Daniel Jones, who he was drafted very high, and the Giants kind of reached on him. And going back to the Giants paying him over Saquon, and it comes back to bite you. You can't really do anything about that at the end of the day, but. They had their opportunity to sign someone like Saquon back, and they just didn't, But honestly, being a player, I would not want to go back to a franchise like the Giants having that general management,
Right, and that's what a lot of people don't understand is that these players, when they make decisions to leave, it's because they're probably unhappy with the way the team's being ran, or they're not so keen on the relationships and the coaches that are in the room. That's some things that you don't see that's behind the scenes. But really fast, I have a bone to pick with Saquon.
Oh no,
the dude will score in every single playoff game leading up to the Super Bowl, and then when all the money is on the line, and I may or may have not had a $50 parlay on our boy Saquon to score an anytime touchdown in the Super Bowl, and he said, "Nah, I'm good. I'm done. I scored enough. I'm walking away. Let's get this dub, and I'm going home or to Disneyland, wherever the hell they go. I don't know." Thank you, Saquon, for that. I really appreciate it, and the millions of others that also participated in sports betting across the world really do appreciate you. Shout out.
Yeah, no. I'm in the same boat as you. I had a parlay going for. Get this. So I had an underdog parlay for Jalen Hurts, 209.5 passing yards over. I hit that. Patrick Mahomes, 1.5 passing touchdowns. I hit that. Granted, it was garbage time if you watch the Super Bowl, but I hit it, right? Saquon Barkley, half a rushing or receiving touchdown. Can you believe that? Can you believe that in the biggest game of the year is the game that he does not score?
That's what happens, man.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're on such a electric team like the Eagles. They seemed unstoppable in the playoffs, and they had some road bumps in the snow game against the Rams. Matthew Stafford looked like he was gonna make another comeback for the books and put it to sleep and maybe go win another championship, before he retires. What do you think about Matthew Stafford retiring possibly, or maybe even going to a team like the Jets or the Giants this offseason?
If I'm Matthew Stafford, I would not want to leave Los Angeles. But if they don't want to extend him, then what are you supposed to do in that situation? You know what I mean?
Right.
And I don't know, just the way that the Jets handled the whole Aaron Rodgers thing, that doesn't look like an appealing place to be. And then New York, the football giants, just historically not one of the best franchises, them and the Commanders, but the Commanders really did turn it around this year. But which just goes to show you're really one quarterback away from a quarterback and a good coaching staff away from turning your franchise around. But I don't know. If I'm Stafford, I stay put if I can. But I do not like the possibility of playing with any New York team or even somewhere okay, is Bryce Young really the answer in Carolina still?
Right.
I don't know. Is Anthony Richardson the answer in Indianapolis? Maybe.
I'm a huge. I'll be the first to say that I'm a huge Anthony Richardson hater. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I think it's because I'm a Jonathan Taylor fan and I had him on my fantasy league this year, and he vultured a lot of touchdowns from him.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, but to have such a low completion percentage.
Just looking at the landscape of the league, which teams are going to need quarterbacks. Stafford, like I said, I think he has it good where he's at. But yeah, Anthony Richardson, fantasy football touchdown vulture champion of the season before he got hurt.
Yeah, and then Joe Flacco had to come in and show him how it was done for a solid 2 weeks.
Joe Flacco, he's a legend, man. That guy's a living
he's
legend.
Great. He's great. He should have won more than one Super Bowl.
Good-looking guy too. I bet he cleans up well, and I bet if he's not married, I bet he slays for sure.
I think he's definitely married, and I'm pretty sure he's got kids too, if I'm not mistaken.
He might still be slaying though. You never know.
You never know. Up in Indianapolis, you don't know what's going on over there.
but anyways, it was a good NFL season. A overall. The Super Bowl kind of was not like the ending that you wanted, but that's how it goes. And it's time to look forward to the next year. But at the same time, right now, since we don't have any football, I really have enjoyed the NBA, and I really do enjoy, the in-season tournament was cool, and then just games every day. That's what I like.
Yeah, for a lot of people, it can become overwhelming. You have hockey, baseball, NBA, and they all have over 80 games. NHL and NBA have 82 game seasons, and then you have the MLB with, I believe it's up to 162 games a year. And then the beauty of the NFL is you get 17 games a year plus the playoffs, and then you call it quits. And it's nice having a couple days in between. So you don't have to constantly be on your phone or in front of your TV and I'm missing the game today because it's Tuesday afternoon. There's no NFL going on a Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah, that's right. But if you're a delinquent sports bettor like I am, you like and you appreciate the action every day. And it starts as early as 5 o'clock and it goes as late as 8:30. So you really have as much time as you want to place your bets. But no, I think the NBA, like all jokes aside, I still feel now, to me, that the NBA is like right behind the NFL now, just because in my fandom I really do enjoy basketball and I enjoy the stars that the NBA has at the moment. But I do think they just need to keep growing the game because they have so much potential with these young players. And I do see I can see in some people's mind where the NBA has surpassed the NFL. Not in a lot of people's mind, but for the people that are true hoop fans, I think this NBA season so far is kind of outdoing the NFL season in my eyes. But that's just me being, more of an NBA fan than anything.
Yeah, and one of the more electric things that goes on with the NBA is obviously the off season. A lot of stars get traded to different places, and you don't really see that in places like the NFL or the NHL. You see packages go that have draft picks, lucratively with first round draft picks from 2029, 2028, 2026, and then you have all stars that also go to that team, and you don't really know what you're going to get from that player. Maybe it was the team that made that player, or maybe it was the player that made that team. You never really know.
Yeah, and you really saw it with this past NBA trade deadline. Like I said, with all these people that were moving, like the only two players in the NBA that are untouchable, and maybe there's three, right? I'll give them three.
Well, you would think Luka would be one of them, but I guess that's off the table.
And that shows you that he's not. But that whole trade really stems from them signing Kyrie in the first place. And we can get into that if you want. But what I was just saying about the NBA trade deadline is there's only about three players that are really, really, truly untouchable. And that would be LeBron James. Unless LeBron says, you're trading me.
Right,
like he makes them trade him.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not going to get traded by himself.
He's got
there's
more
no
authority.
GM that's like, there's no GM that's like, maybe I'll trade LeBron away. Like, nah, that's not going to fucking happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Steph Curry not getting traded by the Warriors. He's going to be a Warrior for life. It's kind of the Tim Duncan effect for him. And then three would be probably Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with the Thunder. I mean, he's showing the most potential out of any young player in the league. I like him better than AD as well. I like him better than Brunson. I like him better than a lot of these young guys. The guy is the closest thing that we've seen to Kobe, like as far as his mid-range game that I've ever seen in the NBA. And I don't think that if you're the Thunder, you could receive anything back that would be beneficial to the team for trading someone like him.
You said that he was the closest player to Kobe. I don't know. That's kind of a hot take. I think that's kind of a hot take.
Well, like I said, when it comes to the mid-range game.
Okay. Yeah, I can respect that.
Kobe,
I can respect that.
Right. Kobe had a lot of that drive to the hole and get to the bucket and slam dunks, all that, right? All that flash, all that pizzazz. Dude, Shai Gilgeous will lure his defender to sleep and just kill him with like a turnaround jumper, bro. And he'll do that all game. And he's not going to shoot 8 threes a game. He's going to shoot maybe like 3 or 4, probably hit like 2, but he's going to get to the line and he's going to just live in that mid-range. And it's beautiful the way he plays.
To end off this little run of the NBA talk, we're going to get into some parlays. Maybe if you guys are interested in Underdog, I don't know if you guys have it downloaded it already. I would probably recommend it. I think it's a great place to place some bets, maybe win some money here and there. It takes as little as $5, $10 that you got to deposit. Nothing too crazy. And we're going to give you some picks that maybe will hit, maybe won't hit for the All-Star game. Chris, what are your picks for the All-Star game?
Well, so let's do this first. So the picks looked really weird when we were looking at it, but what we realized is that you could bet on the score per round per player for the 3-point contest, which is crazy. So I incorporated one of those picks into mine. And then the other pick is just a straight up, it's straight up on points. And the two that I'm going with is my boy Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. They have him at 9.5 points. I feel like this is his coming out party for the All-Star game. I feel like this is even the old guard are like, yeah, bro, go eat. You know what I mean? Like, go make a name for yourself here in this All-Star
game. Right, this is their game now.
Right. So I feel like he comes out and he just shows the world, how good he is as a player. And then that's just straight up in the All-Star game. And then, like I said, I have a pick for the 3-point contest. And I have my boy Buddy Hield with over 23.5 points in the first round of the NBA 3-point contest. Riding that Golden State wave. I'm a homer. I won't deny it. Let's see how he does.
You see the new little nickname that Steph and Buddy got? The Splash Buddies, not the Splash Bros.
Buddy, with all your respect, and I'm rolling with you here, you're not Clay, Papa. You're not.
You're not Clay.
And you'll never be, dude. Captain Clay, can't touch him.
All right, so I got 2 picks of my own going. I got Nikola Jokic for straight up points, 6.5 points. Now,
crazy.
His line might be a little low, but then again, you don't really know how much these players are going to be playing, Someone like Nikola Jokic, whether he's in the paint or outside on the 3-point, he's always going to get points. Even in those crazy clips you see him throw it up. And it's the All-Star game. I would expect him to throw one up from maybe even the logo or maybe even the corner, So he gets 2 of those, and then he gets a couple buckets under the rim. It's an easy 7 points. 6.5 is the line. I'm taking the over. The other line that I am taking is my boy Dame Lillard in the 3-point contest for over 1.5 starry shots made. And those starry shots, if I'm not mistaken, you get one of those per rack, and it's the very last one or the very first one. You can place it wherever you want. And knowing him, he's going to go for all the points, and he's going to want that ball exactly where he wants it, whether it's going to be in the middle, at the end, or at the beginning, and he's going to make sure to sink those.
Yeah, those are good. I like those. The 3-point contest is interesting because I like the guys that are participating this year. Some real good shooters, and you don't have like your Steph Curry in there. You don't have some of your more traditional known shooters. You have guys like Jalen Brunson. You have guys like Tyler Hero in there. Nick Powell from the Clippers is in there. So that's cool that they're like spreading the love. Darius Garland from the Cavs is actually in there as well.
Hey, they've been on fire lately.
Right. It's going to be interesting to see these guys really shoot the ball. We know who can shoot. We know who the Klay Thompsons are of the NBA. So let's see what they can do. And as far as your take on Jokic, I can just see that guy just having beers on the bench and just straddling into the game whenever he wants and throwing dimes from full court and just kind of living his best life. You know what I mean? I feel like he's one that's not taking the All-Star game that seriously.
Right. And I don't expect him to take it serious.
And I don't blame him to.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, there was a clip that was, I don't know if it was from last year or 2 years ago, and he was in the All-Star game with Luka, and he was like, "Okay, Luka, like you go on bench," So like who's putting Luka on the bench? Like nobody's putting Luka on the bench except that guy.
What kind of accent was that? Too? What was that?
That's his Serbian accent or whatever it is.
Okay, you've never been to Serbia, bro. It shows.
I don't know.
The least Serbian thing I've ever heard.
Was that a little outlandish? Was that a little
outlandish? You go to bench now. You go to bench.
Maybe that was a little more Russian.
I play the ball.
I play.
You sit on bench. I will play.
I
You
ride
sit.
my horse to basket.
You see, that's crazy. That's crazy. And we're not making fun of anybody. We're just cracking jokes.
Yeah, we're
But
just cracking jokes. All in
speaking
good
of
spirit.
jokes,
Oh no.
I don't know if you saw on Instagram something with Jimmy Butler and some dirty shorts.
Uh-oh.
And the speculation is that the man may have soiled himself during an NBA game. Adam, what are your thoughts on that?
You know, I'm always one to like first and try and go and defend someone. You know, like oh maybe he like in the NFL. You know, like oh he pooped his pants or he shat in his pants or something like that. You know,
Yeah,
maybe it
yeah.
was the paint on the field or maybe it
It
was
the
the
brown part of
grass.
the logo. Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
exactly. Or like pants rip all the time in the NFL. But when you're in the NBA, you don't have an excuse. That paint ain't coming off the court. You know, that paint ain't coming off someone else's jersey or someone else's shorts. So let's just hope he sat on a puddle of Gatorade, and that Gatorade just so happened to be yellow.
Or somebody was smashing Snicker bars on the bench and left one on the chair, and homeboy
man.
just like sat on the bench like ecstatically and just crushed the fucking Snickers. But what my thing is just go get the guy some new shorts.
That's what I'm saying. Why can't you just change shorts? As simple as that. Everybody changes jerseys all the time.
Right, and send your fucking third coaching assistant, send him to go get the shorts, have Jimmy pull his pants down in front of everybody, and boom, you're good.
Have you ever seen the
What was
movie
that?
Diary of a Wimpy Kid? I don't know if you're too old for that or not.
I'm not that old, dude, but I haven't seen that movie.
Well, for those of you who have seen Diary of a Wimpy Kid, it reminds me of a scene where the little kid puts a Snickers bar in the car and Greg sits on it and he walks into church and he's got a dookie stain on his pants and everybody's like, oh my god, like he pooped himself. I can just see Draymond Green eating a Snickers bar on the sideline and just being like, hey, I'm gonna put it on Jimmy's seat and see what happens, you know? Cause some drama, you know? That's what he's known for.
I have my money on Kevon Looney being the Snickers guy. I don't know. He just seems like just a guy that absolutely demolishes Snickers. Just like five a day, he's eating these, and he's eating the almond ones. He's eating all the different varieties too. Like all the different varieties, he's smashing all of them. But yeah, my money's on Looney. But that was funny, and like just scrolling through Instagram, and you just see Jimmy Butler's poop stained shorts. You're just like, I thought we were talking about basketball here.
This is a sports channel.
But that was funny. So that was pretty. It was a lighthearted moment, you know. Hopefully he didn't soil himself.
What's your favorite kind of chocolate? If you were on the NBA team and you're like, you know what, I'm craving some chocolate. What are you smashing down?
I mean, it's hard to not choose Reese's, right?
Like,
that's
a staple. That's a staple.
Like that's. I mean, I can go top 5 here. I can go Reese's number 1.
Okay.
I can go Hershey's with almonds number 2.
Ooh.
And that's just a classic, you know. And then
with almonds.
Snicker with almonds.
Okay.
You gotta have the almonds. Okay. Number 3, a Baby Ruth. Why not? You know what I mean? They're underrated. Number 4, we'll go Snickers, and then 5, we're closing it out with some Twix.
Oh, see, I don't know if I can get behind Twix. I don't like Twix all that much.
They're good. They're great. They're better than Kit Kats, and they're better than the Three Musketeers. That's for sure.
I'm not a huge chocolate guy, but if I had to go like a top 5 in no specific order except number 1, it's not really like a chocolate bar, but I gotta go M&Ms. M&Ms are a classic, whether they're just the original M&Ms or the peanut M&Ms. If you've never tried the pretzel M&Ms, they're in a blue bag. I highly suggest it if you love pretzels. If you love M&Ms, it's the perfect combo. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh my god.
And then number 2, you can't go wrong with Hershey's. Number 3, I would probably throw like Reese's in there. 4 would be Butterfinger. And 5 would probably be like Kit Kat, you know? I can't get behind Twix though.
Yeah, Kit Kat that needs to go for sure. I don't even. I see Kit Kats now, and I look at them with disgust. Like, what are you? What are you?
Did you have some trauma with Kit Kats growing up, or did you get drugged with Kit Kats in your candy bag on Halloween?
Nah. I just me and Kat don't really get along. If you catch my vibe.
Okay, I catch your vibe.
Me and Kid are cool. Me and Kid have always been cool.
Me and
Kat,
Kit.
I don't like that guy.
I don't like that guy. It's just like the left and right twigs. Which one are you? Left
Exactly.
or right twigs?
I always go with the right. I'm
I always
right-handed,
go.
so
That's fair enough. That's fair enough.
that's how you got to do it, you know. But yeah, Cat, watch yourself.
All right. So as we mentioned on the channel earlier, guys, we are mainly a sports podcast. We're hopefully trying to get into the NFL season. You're gonna see some more bits, possibly like a mock draft for maybe the real NFL as well as fantasy leagues. If you're into fantasy, hopefully you guys are into fantasy and into betting because that's what we're primarily going to be doing during the regular season. And speaking of the NFL, we're gonna kind of end this off on a little bit of a good note with some NFL trivia. And for those trivia heads out there, we're just gonna go maybe a little easy today. You guys might call us casuals. I'm not sure. You guys might be stat lords. You know, I'm a stat person myself, but I'm not super huge on them. What about you, Chris?
That Lord. It sounds like a final boss in a video game or some shit. I like stats. They're cool. I mean, if you're doing like in-game bets or fucking any type of bets, really, you're always looking at stats. But stats are very hard to predict. They're very up and down.
Right, because you
It's
can go out there
interesting.
and have a 400 yard game with 4 passing touchdowns, and the next week you have 132 with none. You know.
Right, right. So that's what I was getting to is that the stats are one thing, but in basketball, any game really, soccer, football, it's all about game flow, opponent, a matchup. You know what I mean? Is there a matchup that somebody's going to take advantage of this game because somebody else is injured? Things like that. Those also contribute to stats. And then a lot of stats, like you said earlier, they can get compiled during like a garbage time. So you never really know. The stats don't tell the full story to a game or to a player, but I think it's cool just to try like these questions that we have is just like just to test the knowledge and be like, yeah, either you look like you know some shit about sports or you actually don't. But it's just stats, so you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
just
and
give it a
I mean,
go.
you have those obvious stats out there like passing yards, passing touchdowns, and then you got those crazy stats out there like who is the most accurate kicker of all time. You know, like those are
Right,
crazy stats that you can get into.
right.
But
Who can
for
smash a turkey sandwich on rye bread while driving a 1985 Camaro down I-10 going 75 in the fast lane?
Hey
That's a
man,
stat for you.
75 in the fast lane is kind of slow for me. I'm just saying, but
Hey, watch the speed. Watch out. Okay. Anyways, let's see. So who's gonna go first here?
all right. So for reference, neither one of us know the other person's question, so we're kept in the dark here. But it is an NFL stat, so I guess I'll start us out. So the way we're gonna go is you're gonna try and guess 5 of the top 10 players who had the most rushing touchdowns in 2024.
Okay, so I have 5 guesses to name at least some of the people in the top 10.
Correct. Yeah, and they can be
So
in any
that's
order. They don't have to be in
right.
specific order. You can get 10, and then you can get 4, and then 6, and so on and so
Okay,
forth.
so first one, Zaquan.
Okay, Saquon is number 8 on the board
Okay,
with
there you go.
13.
I'll take that.
All right.
Damn, damn. So there's wait, what? That's crazy.
Hey, you got to
Okay,
remember, he was on the
yeah, yeah,
Tush
yeah, yeah,
Push
yeah, yeah,
Merchant
yeah, yeah, yeah.
team. You know.
Screw the tush push. Screw Philly too, by the way. But that's for another episode. Fuck, this is tough. Trying to think who runs the ball a lot. David Montgomery's got to be on there.
David Montgomery is number 10
Yeah, let's go.
with
Two for
12
two.
rushing touchdowns.
Okay, this one might fuck me over, but I'm gonna go Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon is not inside the top 10. He's actually number 11 with 11 rushing touchdowns on the season.
Wow,
So
wow.
you
So I
are
just missed him.
you are 2 for 3 right now. Hey, but you're
Yeah, I'm
still
two
cooking.
for
You're still
three.
cooking.
Damn. Is Gibbs on there?
Gibbs is on here. He's number
Gibbs is on
3.
there.
He
Okay.
is
All right.
number
Damn,
3.
number 3. Wow.
Can
Okay.
you guess how many
So,
rushing touchdowns he had?
16.
He had 16 on the dot.
Boom. Got it. Okay.
Boom.
So, out of the 4 guesses, I've only missed one, and that was Joe Mixon.
Right. So you got one more guess. Whether you get it right or wrong, this is your final guess.
Hold on. Hold on. This is great for podcasting, by the way. Kyron Williams.
Kyron Williams is number 6 on the list.
Let's go.
Can you guess how many rushing touchdowns he had?
14.
He had 14. Wow. Hey, there you go. All right, I'm gonna rattle off the rest of the list just for context. So Derrick Henry at number 1. I don't know how you didn't guess him. I don't know how you didn't guess him.
I totally forgot about Derrick Henry. Jesus Christ.
Oh man. Okay, so James Cook.
Got it all 5.
James Cook was cooking. All right.
Yeah,
and then you had Gibbs at 3, Josh Jacobs at 4, who was my fantasy running back on the year.
I thought about that, but I was like, I don't know. I don't like Green Bay too much.
You know, he had I think he had like 8 straight games with a rushing touchdown or something like that. It was insane.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was insane. Number 5, you had Jalen Hurts, the tush push merchant himself. Number 6, Kyron Williams. 7, Bijan Robinson. 8, Saquon Barkley. 9, Josh Allen, and number 10, David Montgomery.
You see, and that was on me. I wasn't even thinking about the quarterbacks in this category, you know?
Yeah, you know, it's kind of crazy that the 2 quarterbacks on here, Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen, and not a name like Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. No, well, Lamar is more of just like a break the pocket type of runner. Allen and Hurts, they use them really when they're in the red zone, so that's how they are able to accumulate these fucking stats. But Jalen, get out of here with that tush push, bro.
Get out of here.
Just stop it. That shit's trash. But that could just be being a Cowboy fan. Anyways, all right. Are you ready for mine?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Let's go. That's not the sound effect I wanted. Neither was that. Not doing any more of this.
Yeah, no.
All right.
That's not.
So let's do this. So my question for you. Top 10, you gotta score in the top 10 here.
All right.
Same rules. Most receiving touchdowns per wide receiver. So no tight ends, no running backs.
Okay.
So
this
5
is
guesses.
Strictly wide receivers.
Strictly wide receivers, and this is the same from last year, season 2024.
Okay, 2024. Ooh, okay. Well, the number 1 of 1, Triple Crown winner, Jamar Chase.
Okay, that was easy. All right.
Okay.
He's number 1, yes.
Man, I know Amon-Ra had like 11, right?
Yeah, he's at number 3. He's got 12.
Okay. Terry McLaurin also had a great year.
He is second. He's 13. So you just guessed the top 3.
I just guessed the top 3 right there. Now I'm kind of cold because I feel like everyone else was great, but for touchdowns.
Show some love to the bottom of the list here.
Oh man, you know I have a lot of names in mind, but you know I'm gonna throw out a crazy answer. I'm gonna go Brian Thomas Jr.
Number 7, Brian Thomas Jr. with 10 from
there
the
we go.
Jacksonville Jaguars, the
Rookie.
Always terrible Jaguars.
Oh man.
Okay, last one. So we're tied right now, 4
right.
each.
Four each. I gotta
This
get this one
breaks
for
it
the
right
win.
here.
Yep. Oh man, this is tough because like. Oh man, I could name someone like a Lamb from the Cowboys, but he didn't have Prescott the entire year, and oh man, this is rough. My heart
around Adam's head.
My heart wants to go like Jackson Smith and Jigba, but my mind is also telling me someone like Puka Nacua. I don't know why. I'm thinking like West Coast right now. Oh man,
Okay.
I don't think Puka got that many touchdowns, did he?
Just say a name, goddammit.
Okay, I'm gonna go Jackson Smith and Jigba. Oh no,
Dude, okay. You're missing Mike Evans, Justin Jefferson, Drake London, Rashad
Oh
Bateman.
man, I was gonna go Drake London too, but I was like, nah. I was like, he
Justin
definitely didn't
Jefferson, dude.
You know,
That's
You know
Mike
who I
Evans.
thought? I thought who was stealing the touchdowns this year was Jordan Addison. I thought they went like split 50-50 and like neither one
Addison
of them.
Addison was number 11. Justin Jefferson is number 5.
Wow.
And
That's crazy.
then Smith and Jigba's not even in the top 25. So that was
Wow.
a crazy guess.
That is crazy.
On your,
That is crazy.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't have a sports podcast if you're doing that. Just saying.
Hey, he had a good year though. He had a great year.
Do you like that horn I threw in there too?
Yeah,
good.
that was pretty on cue. That was pretty good.
Yeah, that timing was right on that one.
Maybe not.
We're still figuring shit out over here, guys.
Yeah, this is kind of like a test run kind of deal. But if you enjoyed it, make sure you go ahead and follow on whatever platform you are listening on.
Okay, so but wait, what do we do now since we tied?
Oh man, so I guess we gotta have a tiebreaker now.
Yeah, or I could just win, or I could just win.
win.
You could just let
Oh,
me win.
you just want to win by default? You just want to win by default?
I'll let you win. I'll let you win for the
Well,
first episode of your own show.
no. Maybe we should go tie and then see where episode 2 takes us. You know, maybe this can be like a long-term thing, weekly thing.
Okay, yeah. So maybe after week 1, we're tied right now.
Right. So it's 0-0-1
Okay.
right now for both of us.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, we started out terrible, but we're okay. We didn't lose.
Hey, we're like the Bengals. We come back in the second half.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, that was cool. I like the sports trivia. So
Yeah, that was awesome.
I think that's about all we had for today, right?
Yeah, I mean, we don't really have anything else lined up. Like I said, we're gonna introduce some more things later on when we kind of figure out everything, get everything lined up and all our ducks in a row,
All I want to say before anything else is Steph Curry is the greatest basketball player to ever play the game. I don't care. Don't at me.
I'm neither going to disagree nor agree with that statement right there. But on that note, thank you guys so much for joining us on today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, on whatever platform you're listening on, whether it's Spotify when this is up, whether this is YouTube, whether this is Apple Podcasts, whatever it's on, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys leave a follow. Maybe leave a comment. That would help immensely. If you can shout us out on social media. Our social media for the Instagram will be up pretty soon here. It is _line podcast. And then you can also find my Instagram at Adam _Flores. That is FLORES 87. And Chris, you want to shout out your Instagram real quick?
At Conversing with Chris on Instagram. And at Conversing with Chris, the podcast as well on Instagram. Go ahead and follow me. Get on there, guys. I really do appreciate it. Adam, shout out for the episode, brother. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Thank you so much for joining me.
I thought it was good. I thought it was fun.
I thought it went great.
I look forward to the next one. And watch out for the stickers out there, okay? Just be careful.
Watch out for the stickers. All right, we'll catch you guys later. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you later. Peace.